Most of you don't know this, but some NBA players changed their names during their playing years in the NBA. Some did it for religious reasons, while some have their names changed just because they wanted to. Anyway, we're going to be breaking down 5 NBA players that altered their names, and let's see if a player that you know quite well made the list. Before we continue, please make sure that you smash the like button and subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss a video. Kareem AbdulJabbar, Lew Alcindor. Kareem AbdulJabbar is not foreign to many, and just like his patented skyhook, his untainted name stands head and shoulders above the rest of the pack of legendary hoopers, covered in glitter, glamour, and grandeur. A multi-award winning basketball player in his heyday and a somewhat decent Hollywood film actor, Kareem has established himself as a beloved figure both inside and outside the court. But before the avalanche of accolades, the signature goggles, and global fame that Kareem achieved amidst the surge of his illustrious career, he was simply known as Lew Alcindor, a lanky 22-year-old budding superstar out of UCLA. A day after winning the title his sophomore year season as a member of the Milwaukee Bucks, Lew Alcindor converted to Islam and decided to legally change his name to Kareem AbdulJabbar, which literally means noble one, servant of the Almighty. According to an interview, Kareem's name change was in response to the unjust treatment of his people and ancestors' Afro-American lineage. The adoption of a new name was an extension of my rejection of all things in my life that related to the enslavement of my family and people. Alcindor was a French planter in the West Indies who owned my ancestors. My forebears were Yoruba people from present-day Nigeria. Keeping the name of my family's slave master seemed somehow to dishonor them. His name felt like a branded scar of shame. He also later regretted that he could have handled this delicate matter privately or more discreetly. From that year, 1973, when AbdulJabbar traveled abroad, learned Arabic, and studied the Quran, to this, I have never wavered or regretted my decision to convert to Islam, the NBA legend continued. When I look back, I wish I could have done it in a more private way, without all the publicity and fuss that followed. But at the time, I was adding my voice to the civil rights movement by denouncing the legacy of slavery and the religious institutions that had supported it. That made it more political than I had intended and distracted from what was, for me, a much more personal journey. Bison Dele, Brian Williams. Brian Williams was a late signee that only played 9 games during the Bulls championship campaign in 1997, but that was enough to secure his lone NBA title in his entire playing career of 8 seasons. If my memory serves me right, Brian Williams has more rings than John Stockton, Karl Malone, Reggie Miller, and Charles Barkley combined. Nabbed by the Orlando Magic as the 10th overall pick in 1991, Brian Williams was a 6'10" interior banger that provided an off-the-bench spark in multiple teams that he played with within his decent career. He played an instrumental role as a backup bruiser for the Dark Horse squad of the Denver Nuggets during their deep playoff runs between 1993 and 1995. After tasting his first championship champagne with the Bulls in 1997, Williams experienced his first breakout season when he got traded to the Pistons, where he averaged 16.2 points and 8.9 rebounds in a game. It was also around this time when he formally changed his name to Bison Dele to commemorate his Native American and African ancestry. But as things started to look up for Bison, tragedy struck like lightning for the 29-year-old workhorse. Despite the on-court success that he was having, Bison was battling clinical depression around this time, and his teammates seemed to notice it quite often. As a result, he became detached from his teammates, and that also ultimately impacted his passion for the game. At the height of his career, Bison decided to walk away from basketball in his prime, and even declined to entertain a $36 million contract offer by the Pistons. From there, things just went south and got even worse for Dele. As Bison lived an off-the-grid nomadic lifestyle after his pro journey, he would later on get entangled in a horrifying situation that led to his eventual disappearance when he was sailing to Hawaii in 2002. World Be Free, Lloyd Be. Amidst the funk music revolution that blasted everyone's ears in the mid-70s, there was an almost same kind of funky groove brought by one NBA player around that time, and that happened to be Lloyd Be. Drafted 23rd overall in the second round by the Philadelphia 76ers, Free was a natural showman that wowed the crowd with his unflappable exuberance. He was also an innovative shot creator that introduced a high-arcing shot release that became his primary weapon against tall defenders and competent shot blockers. Synonymous to his last name, Lloyd was a free-spirited athlete who thrived in open-court settings and one-on-one scenarios. While playing for the Golden State Warriors, Free reverted to using the high school nickname that his friends bestowed upon him. On December 8, 1981, Free officially dropped Lloyd as his first name and permanently replaced it with his new name, World. In an NBA.com interview, he stated that the name World was given to him by his friends in Brooklyn while playing in the local ballparks. I decided to do it when I was with the Golden State Warriors. At first, self-proclaimed people thought it was a self-proclaimed name. The name was given to me from the streets of Brooklyn in the Brownsville section for being one of the talents from there that they thought might have a chance to make it to the NBA. Anyone who had a little bit of greatness about them back then would get a nickname. They had guys in my era like James Fly Williams and Phil the Thrill Sellers from Rutgers. They had guys they named before me like Doc Connie Hawkins and Nate Tiny Archibald. My nickname was All World for doing 360 slam dunks. The guy who nicknamed you was Herb Smith. A lot of those names stuck. Lloyd Be Free was my given name, so I just changed Lloyd to World. Mahmoud Abdul Ralph, Chris Wayne Jackson. As a 6'1" bite-sized point guard, Mahmoud Abdul Ralph was already shooting like Chef Curry before the latter emerged as the top honcho of long-range shooting. Before Mahmoud Abdul Ralph officially changed his name in 1991, he was known in the collegiate ranks as Chris Jackson, playing for the LSU Tigers. During those days, only a few players could execute a dribble pull-up move because of its degree of difficulty, which eventually leads to a low percentage shot and getting a mouthful from your coach. But Abdul Ralph was not like the others, and he executed the dribble pull-up jumper to perfection, paired with unwavering confidence. Just in his freshman year, he dropped 48 points in his third game against Louisiana Tech and continued his rampage by putting up a couple of 50-point outings against tough teams like Ole Miss and Florida. With the ultimate green light of green lights in his back pocket, Abdul Ralph could hurt you similar to when a bee stings or a cobra bites you with its venomous fangs. You're already feeling the pain, but you still got no idea how hard he hurt you because everything happened so blurringly fast. Mahmoud had one of the fastest shooting releases at the point. If you happen to divert your focus elsewhere or shift your attention elsewhere, he will make you pay 9 times out of 10. Wait, let me change that. Let's make that 10 times out of 10, because a guy like Mahmoud doesn't miss that often. Meta Sandiford Artist. Meta World Peace Ron Artist. It's a no-brainer to include Ron Artist's name transformations throughout the years in this list. The guy has the most name iterations that I could think of in recent memory, and I firmly believe that there's no other player who would dare to surpass this financially straining milestone and the legal hassles that brings it forth. As the 16th overall pick by the Bulls in the 1999 draft, defensive toughness has become Artist's calling card, playing 9 seasons with 4 different teams. But sometimes the toughness he brings to the table extends to the far end of the playing tough defense meter that resulted in a catastrophic brawl that is well known around the globe for all the wrong reasons. After keeping his Spitfire persona and hostile demeanor in check, Artist vowed to be a better person since then and had sort of a spiritual awakening that led to his name transformation of Meta World Peace. Meta is a Buddhist word that means loving kindness and friendliness towards all beings, and world peace, well, yep, it just simply means world peace. Despite bearing a pious name that is akin to a dignitary that promotes peaceful relationships across different nations, that didn't stop James Harden from receiving a sharp elbow to the side of his head, courtesy of the Earth's ambassador of peace. World Peace reverted to his old ways and decided to change his name to Meta Sandiford Artist when he got married in 2020. In fact, he hated it the first time he heard World Peace blurted out by the PA announcers at Staples. The first game that I had with World Peace, I was like, that's the dumbest thing ever. I was coming off the bench at that time, 2011, and they said, Meta World Peace, and I remember not wanting to take off my warm-up. It was embarrassing, so I did think about changing my name back, but then I got used to it. People got used to it. But right now, it's funny because I got married, and my name is now Meta Sandiford Artist, so I actually took my wife's last name. Let's cross our fingers that this is the last time that Ron or Meta will change his name. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. Also, be sure to check out our other videos on the channel.